Okay, so I'm gonna show you how I draw whenever I'm doing poses. Whenever I see people doing poses, specifically kind of in the beginner area, I see people draw by tracing over their outline, over their base, and there's nothing wrong with that. I will never say that there is a right way or a wrong way to draw poses, but in my opinion, I like to do it more stylized, and to do that, tracing over a base just isn't how, I like to do it. But, showing here, I'm drawing directly over the base that I found. I don't know who made the base, so, if you do, tell me. Um, but as you can see, my lines are wobbly. I specifically chose a brush that had no pressure sensitivity, since I know that isn't, you know, for everyone. Um, and as you can see, lines are wobbly and being done directly over the base, um, which can constrain kind of the style that you want to go for if your character has a different head shape or, ear shape. I just want to simplify, Um, but that's usually what I see. Wobbly lines, um, and if you're drawing a face over your base, your style is probably not going to be the same as the style that your base is. I see a lot of chibi, bases and very stylized faces over them, or very complex hair. And it just clashes, in my opinion. Um, Another way that you could, use bases is by creating a sketch over your base, which gives you the pose that you want. If you cannot draw one, by yourself and need some help on that, um, tracing like directly over your base as seen in the last one, and using that as your line art completely, once again, gives you wobbly lines, gives you a difference in your art style compared to what you want to achieve. Um, but using the base as just a pose, and then creating your, um, sorry, creating your sketch over it, will give you the opportunity to change or stylize the sketch however you want whenever you're doing the line art. And that is something that I used to do a lot, um, whenever I was, starting out in art, using the base as a sketch, as something that I can dilly dally over. I can whatever. That's just how I used to use them, and yeah, this is a very good method whenever it's beginner friendly. Using a base as what it is, a base, and then creating a sketch over it, and then you can go in and do your line art. Your line art can differ from your sketch and from your base, so it gives you another chance to change anything that goes against your art style, anything that would, you know, just be different from your usual. It'll make all of your art blend in. Another thing that you may have seen is I changed my brush size. I use a smaller brush whenever I'm doing line art, and whenever I'm doing my sketches, because it it just gives me more freedom in whenever I want to make. If I'm overlaying a bunch of lines to make a certain shape, it gives me something. um, and your bases may have a different line art style. Um, Thicker lines on the outside, smaller lines on the inside. That's very common. You can change whatever brush you want to use. Once again, I was using you know, like a non-pressure sensitive brush, just because a lot of people on mobile or on their iPad, some people don't have those stylus with pressure sensitivity. Some people are just using their fingers. I personally am working on a camera, not a camera, God, a uh, I'm working on Canvas 13. Um, Here's the brand, and I'm working on my computer. My program is Krita, um, and it's honestly worked wonderfully, in my opinion. um, but that's not to say that people who don't have those things are not going to be able to make good art. Never going to say that. It doesn't matter what you have, you can still make really great art. But honestly, this is just a preferred method, in my opinion, with how much you can get out of it and not just tracing over the base. Or, I've seen people just drawing faces and hair and clothing just directly over the base and not making line art for the body. You know, everybody is on a different level of experience. Look at the difference. Look at it. It's so beautiful. Last but not least, I'm gonna show you the method that I use. Usually, I won't have the base on the screen, but just a showcase. Um, I have my base on another screen or, on my program, and I will use it as a reference. I'm using it as a reference, not as a base. Um, and, I'll make the shapes, I'll make the lines, I'll make it a little bit different if I need a different angle, if I need different characteristics on the face, if I have a different face shape, something more square. Um, I'll just use it like that. And honestly, this method has, it's is amazing in my opinion. In my personal opinion, um, it's just my go-to. If yeah, I didn't have anything to say after that actually. I use extra guidelines. There's always that cross, which is the Loomis method, if you haven't known. Loomis, Loomis method. Um, and that's just as guidelines to make sure you know where you want to put things. Where the top of the ears are is where the eyebrows would probably be, and directly under that would be your eyes. Um, and where I have the second line under that is where the nose would be, if I follow it correctly, which sometimes I don't. Also, don't come for me for that hand. I hate drawing hands. Okay, I do use references for that, and I do use bases for that. Because hands are hell. That's simple. After that rough sketch of a train wreck, I add another layer and I start going in with cleaner line art. Um, of course, this was very quick to do, so nothing's gonna be perfect. Don't come for me. I will get you. Um, and I just go over it with, you know, more lines. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Um, just to get what I need. Um, so yeah, I just do reference, then draw a sketch. Well, a very rough sketch. And then I do line art over it. Sometimes I'll do rough sketch, sketch, and then line art, and then coloring and whatnot. But, this has always worked for me. If it doesn't work for you, that's okay. Do not come for me on that hand. I hate drawing hands. They make me want to cry. Um, this also goes for more complex bases, which I will show in a different video on how to draw bodies, which, you know, is kind of hard, but it can be simplified very much so. Um, yeah, that's literally all I have. 3 different ways. Drawing directly over the base, which can give you wobbly lines and contrast from your normal art style. Um, Using the base as a, I guess, just drawing a sketch over the base. And then going in with line art. It's better. Better looking in my opinion. and I don't see much that's wrong with it. And then just using it as a reference and creating your own sketch and line art, which can give you more stylized looks, different body shape, but can still take a long time to actually get to. Oh yeah. Anyway, that's all that I have to say.